I used to laugh at local legends. Ghost stories, monster tales, strange sightings told by people in small towns with nothing better to do. I thought they were just entertainment, folklore. But then came that night. The night I was forced to admit that some legends breathe, some legends move, and some legends watch you. This is the story of the night I saw the Mothman. It was late November, a time when the trees are bare and the wind cuts through your coat like knives. The sky was low, heavy, pressing down on the town of Point Pleasant like a dark blanket. I had heard about this place before. People whispered about it in online forums, in grainy YouTube videos with eerie music. The legend always started the same way. A creature with wings like a demon, eyes that glow red in the night, and a cry that chills your soul. They said it was seen in the 1960s and that its presence always meant disaster was near. I told myself it was just a story. But some part of me, some reckless curiosity, wanted to see for myself. The road to the old TNT area was narrow and quiet. The trees leaned in close, their skeletal branches scraping at the roof of my car when the wind pushed them. The fog was thick, curling low across the ground like smoke from an invisible fire. My headlights carved to weak tunnels into the night, but beyond that, there was only blackness. They say the TNT area is cursed. It was once a munitions plant during World War II, and when it was abandoned, nature swallowed it up. Hidden bunkers, collapsing concrete, strange chemicals seeping into the soil. And over time, it became a breeding ground for stories. Strange lights, vanishing figures, and, of course, the creature. I gripped the wheel tighter as I drove deeper in. The silence pressed against my ears, broken only by the soft hum of the engine and the occasional snap of a branch under my tires. And then, I saw it. At first, I thought it was a trick of the headlights. A tall shadow standing at the edge of the road, too tall to be human. My foot instinctively pressed the brake, slowing the car to a crawl. My eyes narrowed, trying to make sense of the figure. And then it moved. It stepped closer, out of the fog, and I saw them. The eyes. Red, glowing, burning like coals from a fire that never dies. They didn't blink, they didn't shift. They fixed themselves on me with a weight so heavy I felt it pressing against my chest. I couldn't breathe. The figure stretched, and with a sudden, unnatural motion, its wings unfurled. They were massive, black, jagged, and wide enough to swallow the road in darkness. As they spread, the air shifted, heavy, charged like the atmosphere before a violent storm. I froze, gripping the wheel until my knuckles turned white. And then it made a sound, a screech, metallic and piercing, like steel being ripped apart. It wasn't just loud, it was inside me. It vibrated in my bones, in my teeth, in my very thoughts. I clapped my hands over my ears, but it didn't matter. The sound was already there, echoing in my skull. I wanted to run, to hit the gas and tear down that road. But I couldn't move. I was trapped. The creature bent its body forward, crouching slightly as if ready to leap. My heart slammed against my ribs, and every instinct in me screamed that this was it, this was the end. But instead of attacking, it lifted. With a single, violent thrust of its wings, it shot into the air. The ground shook, the car rattled, and for a split second the world blurred into chaos. My headlights flickered, the dashboard lights went dark, and the engine sputtered as if the very energy had been ripped from the car. Then, silence. I looked up, craning my neck through the windshield, and there it was gliding above me, silent, effortless, following. Panic broke through my paralysis, and I slammed my foot on the gas. The car roared to life, tires squealing as I tore down the road. My hands shook on the wheel, sweat dripping down my temple despite the icy air. I kept glancing up, out the window, and every time I saw it, its shadow gliding over the treetops, those burning eyes occasionally flickering through the branches. The creature didn't fall behind. No matter how fast I drove, it stayed with me, watching. And then it swooped. It dropped from the sky and crossed the road just inches in front of my car. I screamed and swerved, tires sliding across the slick pavement. For one blinding second, its wings filled the windshield. I saw every detail: dark feathers, jagged edges, and that horrible face. And then it was gone. The road ahead was empty again. I pulled over, shaking, chest heaving with panicked breaths. I told myself to calm down, to think, to find logic in this madness. But then, the radio crackled. I hadn't touched it, the dial hadn't moved. But the static hissed and warped, and beneath it came something faint. A voice, a whisper. I couldn't tell. It was distorted, broken, and then the screech. That same metallic, bone-shattering screech filled the car speakers. I slammed my hand against the power button, but the radio wouldn't shut off. My headlights flickered again, the dashboard glowed and dimmed, and for a moment I thought the car itself was under its control. I grabbed my phone, desperate to call someone, anyone, but the screen was dead. No light, no signal, just black. It wasn't just watching me. It was in everything. The fog thickened, rolling in like a living thing. My breath came in short gasps, and I forced the car back into motion, creeping forward, terrified of what else might be waiting. And then I remembered the stories. Locals had claimed that the Mothman wasn't a killer. It didn't attack directly. Instead, it was a warning, a harbinger. Wherever it appeared, tragedy followed. But that didn't comfort me, because what if I was the tragedy? As I drove, the world felt wrong. The trees bent closer, the shadows shifted. Once or twice, I thought I saw glowing eyes between the branches, watching. Always watching, and then movement in my rear-view mirror. The creature stood in the middle of the road behind me, wings folded, glowing eyes locked on the back of my head. My breath hitched, my chest tightened, and I pressed harder on the gas. But no matter how far I went, every time I checked the mirror, it was still there. Same distance, same eyes. Following, the minutes stretched into hours, though I knew it couldn't have been that long. Time broke down in that place, swallowed by fog and fear. And then, finally, the lights of town appeared in the distance. I'd made it back to Point Pleasant. Civilization, safety, or so I thought. I pulled into a gas station, hands trembling as I fumbled with the keys. The lights above buzzed and flickered, casting long, shaky shadows across the lot. I stumbled out of the car, desperate for fresh air, for proof that I was still alive. And that's when I heard it, the screech. Faint at first, carried on the wind. Then louder, closer. I spun around, eyes scanning the darkness, but there was nothing there, nothing I could see. But I knew. It was still with me. That night, the news broke. A terrible accident on the highway outside town. Multiple cars, multiple lives lost, the same road I had driven. The same stretch where I had seen the creature, and I knew then what the stories meant. The Mothman doesn't kill. It warns, but the warnings are useless because the disasters cannot be stopped. To this day, I still feel its eyes on me sometimes. In the corner of a dark room, in the reflection of a window. In the silence before a storm. I don't know why it chose me. I don't know why I had to see it. But I know this: once you look into those burning red eyes, you are never truly free again. So believe me or don't, call me a liar, call me crazy. But if you ever find yourself driving through Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and you see a figure on the side of the road, don't stop, don't look back, and whatever you do, don't listen when the radio starts to scream. Do you think the Mothman is real? Is it a guardian? Or a curse? Tell me in the comments, and if you want more stories like this one, hit the like button and subscribe. Because the next story might be even closer to home.